Alright, welcome to Stampscaping 101. We're going to try a test here that, I don't know. I don't know if it'll work. I'm guessing it won't, but we're going to try it anyway. Okay, so here's the thing. This is a blank piece of paper. It's a pre-folded card, okay? And it's just regular paper. I don't believe it's card, so I don't think it's coated at all, okay? Now, I don't think putting some hybrid ink down here is going to show up on black paper, okay? But we have this white pigment ink here. It says opaque, whitest white, all right? So I'm going to try this out. This is the Moon and the Maker. Moonlight White pigment ink, okay? I don't think it's hybrid ink. I don't know. I guess it could be. I've never heard of a white dye-based ink. Well, actually I have, but I don't know how that can really exist. But we're going to put this to the test here, and we're going to see how opaque this can be. Because if this white is opaque on here, all right, or, you know, I mean, maybe not completely opaque, but fairly opaque, then I think I can apply blue on top of it. But well, let's see, okay? All right, so this is just doing some brayering right here, okay? We were able to get some pretty, you know, interesting results with the brayer, with some metallics recently, and I like the look. So let's give this a try here. It's always interesting to me how I get that harsh line like that. Maybe it's because I don't use as much ink. Maybe the second time around. I don't know. So this is generally what we're going to. Okay, so I'm going to use a lighter touch. All right. This is going to be kind of a, I want to go for this kind of horizon glow here. So I do want some of this. I don't want it just to be a abrupt white and then nothing. I want it to get transition from white into dark, darkness up here. Okay, whoa. Got to be careful. I almost touched this with the brayer down here. This is the whole thing is going to be a card. Okay. Okay, going like that. Okay, I'm learning how to use this brayer a little bit more every time I use it. I'm finding kind of using a lighter touch. That got me a much nicer gradation right there, I think. All right, so kind of a light touch at first. You can see how textured this paper is and how, it's not sealed off, okay? All right, hey, that's looking pretty good right there, I think. All right, so that's kind of, roughly what I'm going after. I don't know what the blue. See, I just don't think this is just white enough for that blue to read. So I want it pretty white down there. This is going to be a lake scene, so it's not going to be something that you see in nature, or something like that. I just want it, it just has to be something kind of interesting, cool, visually appealing, all those, things that we're going after, in visual art. Okay, now one of the things that I've found with pigment inks on whatever you're using them on, they tend to dry darker to me. I don't know. Maybe not on certain surfaces with certain types of pigment inks. I don't know, but Brilliance, maybe that's drying so fast that, when you apply it, you get what you get. But these ones right here, I find that they dry darker. I mean, not this brand, I'm talking about just pigment inks in general, no matter what you apply them on. Which is almost a good thing because it gives you kind of leeway, it gets a little bit dark and then you can apply and adjust accordingly. So I don't see it as necessarily a bad thing. Yeah. I see it as a good thing, actually. I have a lot more control over a slower application. All right, so I do believe this is getting more opaque. Doesn't it seem like it's getting lighter to you down there? I don't know. we'll see if all of this is, will benefit from this, or if it's going to be kind of moot, if we can't apply, that blue over the top of it. Okay, now if I press harder, all right, it's removing some ink. Okay, so I'm barely using this like this. Okay, a little bit harder than that, but almost. A lot of passes here. I'm not like some expert with the brayer. I've just kind of started using it recently. We used them in the past. That's why I have them. We were using them with the big and juicy pads on glossy cardstock. So it's just dye-based inks on glossy, which I'm very familiar with. But pigment inks on like matte, and then layering on top of that to boot. New types of kind of processes to me. All right, this is getting really thick. It's almost like, I don't know, it's like I'm brayering into toothpaste or something like that. Okay, so let's, well, that is really light over there, but that's what we have. Okay, so that's not, all we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing blue over the top of it, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so, all right. Removing some of this. I don't need to remove too much because the ink that I'm going to be using next, it's kind of been designed to be used, with white anyway, so I don't need to get this too cleaned off. Okay, but I do think I should probably heat set this a little bit, because if you're just trying to transfer a completely wet sopping ink into a wet sopping ink like that, it's not going to transfer, so let's heat set it a little. We'll heat set it from the front and from the back. Paper's starting to curl a little bit. Now, like I said, I don't know how wet it is still. Let me... To the touch... Okay, that ink is coming right off on my finger, kind of, but you know what I mean? It's not sopping wet, so let's just go with it like that. All right, so... I don't like that curl that I got from that. Okay, all right. I was going to say, I'm not getting any ink on this. I need to press a little bit harder. This is a hybrid blue ink, okay? So it's not pigment ink like I was just using. The hybrid's going to be thinner just because it is a combination of dye and pigment ink, and dyes are much thinner inks than pigment inks, okay? So we have that. I'm just going with the lightest blue that I could, that I happen to have in a non-dye-based ink, okay? So let's see how this goes here. Okay. There's a lot of texture in this. I don't know how it would look on, like a cardstock, something that's nice and sealed with, your clay surface. May or may not work, I don't know. I would imagine black matte paper would, I don't know. I think it would work, I don't know. Okay, so here we go. I don't know how high to put this, sometimes I might want just the, the white up there, I don't know. But this isn't looking too bad. It's, I think we're getting, that's the color of the ink, and that's what it looks like on there, roughly. So that's certainly a way to get blue onto black. Okay. Okay, all right. That looks like that. It's kind of, that's kind of a nice kind of electric glow to it, doesn't it? All right, I got that little space in the center there. I think there wasn't enough white in that space right in there, but I don't know. I'm not worried about it too much. We'll get it. We'll see if we can blend it in a little bit more. Okay, so it's about pressure. I'm finding using that really light pressure on this, you know, really helps me to get kind of a smoother application, I think. All right, let's see here. We have our Lakeside Cove. If I stamp this too high, it's going to be black against black, so I have to stamp it a little bit lower, okay, in the composition for it to show up. The question is, do I want kind of a horizon glow up there? I don't know. If I did, maybe I should have went, you know, light to dark, and then light here again to dark. I'm not going to do that now. But I guess I'd be able to put a little white in there and just go like that. Or white on the end there and just kind of apply it like that. And then blend it up. Okay? Boy, as I say that, I'm really tempted to try it. Alright, let's go ahead and try that. So we went white, and then blue over white. Now let's see if we can put white over blue. When I'm doing these experiments, I'm just, I don't know, I'm just thinking about things and, I don't know, you know, trying to come up with trying to visualize the concept, and I don't know, sometimes I talk myself into trying something out. Okay, let me see if I can do this right here. All right, so where is this going to go? We'll put it roughly right here, so roughly right in here. Okay, so let me just get a little bit of this white on here, okay? Like that. Okay, and then we'll kind of rub it down like that. Okay, it's a little bit lighter, like that, okay? Now let's wipe this off and see if we can blend that in a little bit better. Okay, so let's go like this and just kind of go across there. I'm kind of working my way up and down a little bit. Like so. Come into it from this side as well. Alright, so that might create a little bit more contrast, a little bit lighter. I don't know, I can go a little bit lighter, but maybe it would stand out too much if I did. So let's just leave it at that. Alright. Let's see how this goes. Opaque black is black. Opaque white is white was used. Let's try the opaque black is black. Let's see if it is the black is black. You can try any type of black pigment ink. Alright, down here I'm not kind of coloring in this area right here, this transition zone. Okay, I don't want a harsh line because this is stamped up higher. If I'm going off the page like that with that area, I don't need to wipe that off. Okay, so let's go roughly around here. Alright. Oh, maybe I should have heat set, I don't know. My thing is that I want these images to stamp out as dark as I possibly get them, if I can, okay? Sometimes you can't, because you're stamping kind of wet ink into kind of a damp surface, and that ink that you're applying to the surface isn't transferring over, so it's kind of, you know, because the surface is kind of sealed off with all that existing ink already on it, so that's what we want. We want inks that will transfer. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad there. Okay, looks like that. Now we have all this other area on the sides. Let's fill it in. I'm pleased with that impression, and I guess this ink right here. All right, so ink it up again, Like about like so. Okay. Now see, again, we had to make it dark or lighter in the background for this image to show. If I just stamp this on black, it's not going to show up at all, right? Okay. Here, I'm overlapping, about a 1/4 inch or so, 1/8 of an inch to a 1/4 inch into the previous impression so that I get a nice seamless transition. It's not like putting a puzzle piece together where it has to go edge to edge. You're overlapping a good amount. No masking necessary or anything like that. You have that transition like that. Okay, now I'm not real pleased with this little striation up there, but we can, we'll adjust that. We're not worried about that. I'd say at this point in time, but pretty much never. Okay, so I want to put in some foreground in here too, but let's do some of this. Okay, I'm going to, well, I have this black out right here. Let's use some of that. Okay, here's a cotton ball that I've used black with before. Okay. Just inking it up like this, and I'm just going to even out, some of those sloppier applications of the white ink using the brayer. Okay, so you can just come in here like this, and they're gone. You can just smooth them out like that. Okay, there were some brayer marks in there. I mean, some of that looks pretty good. It has them. You want some of those striations. It's not a bad thing. Streaks. I love streaks like that. Okay, now let's go with the same black ink and add some shadows into my Lakeside Cove here, down the shadow areas. So, I don't like just this plain, brayered area down here. I think, it needs some texture and body, so that's where this comes in. So see, I'm just going from the outside and streaking it in like this, okay? We'll go for a little bit of a darker perimeter, about like so. I had to be careful here because one little kind of swipe, or if I press down too hard when I first put it down, it transfers too much. So I guess use a lighter touch and then just lightly streak that in like that, so you get that nice transition. Okay. Still learning how to use these things, and this entire process. I never know how it's going to apply, and it's all about the combinations of media too. It's not just pigment ink on paper. It's pigment ink over this brand of inks that have already been laid down. You kind of learn the combinations and whatnot. When I'm learning it too, I'm just I'll apply something kind of lightly at first. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how wet my pads are. If you're using a super juicy wet pad, I mean the process is often different than if you're using a medium pad or a dry pad especially. Okay, but look at that glow down there. Now see, isn't that kind of harmonized now? See, I've darkened off the area around it. Now I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks awesome. Before I didn't like it, just with the brayering, but then it doesn't have to be the end of the world. You just go in and add shadows or highlights and whatnot, okay? But then you have that blue. I mean, how else are you going to get that blue down there? If I start off with a blue paper like that, I'd have to add in all that black. I don't want to do that. That would take forever. But that brayering, I don't know, that was a pretty fast process like that. It looks like a nice glow, okay? See, I was kind of adding it around those rocks like so. There's a different kind of a feel to it, I'd say. Okay, bottom two corners, left and right, kind of creating that strong framing and vignette. I was really thinking about some foreground trees, but I'm not sure if I want to cover up too much of this glow down here. After all, we worked hard to get that glow. So if I put like, some trees in front of it, I'm blocking off a lot of it. So maybe not. Let's not do that. Let me see. Let's go for some reeds down here. Okay. Let's get a little bit of foreground, but let's not cover up the background too much. So the reed's large. I'm changing the height of it, changing the angle, overlapping like so. I think that's doing the job. I can tell the impressions are a little bit different than what I'm used to, though, because I'm stamping it over a very coated surface, of ink. You wouldn't think so, but I can just tell the impressions are a little bit broken up. They're still, clean, and they show up, and they're nice and opaque, but interesting. Okay, so we have all this area up here. I plan on doing something with that, and I think like a quote stamp or just some stars up here would be really good. Probably blue and white maybe up here in terms of the stars. I'm wondering if I should do some bleed-proof white. I think that would look pretty good. Let's do it. All right. So let's say this is a completely, almost moonlit night, moonless night. Okay, those get really dark, so I'm not going to be putting things like highlights on my rocks or anything like that. It's just, there wouldn't be that light reflecting off of it to do that. So that being said, not that you can't do it, but I think it would just stand out too much. All right, let's see what we have here in terms of my bleed-proof white paint. I don't think I need to add any more water to it. Okay. Old toothbrush. Perfect tool. Someone was telling me when they were looking for just a plain toothbrush, without all the the rubber tips and the gum stimulators and the all that stuff. You can't. It's hard to find just kind of a plain toothbrush now. Sometimes you got to go find like a real cheap one. All right, so that is that. Let me get a little bit of that off the front of it. All right. Look at that glow, though, huh? Isn't that something? It's hard to see the design, but okay, let's see here. Or I was thinking about a quote. I don't know. Maybe I won't do that. It would really stand out against this background, though. But all right, let's see if you can see that. The stars up there, like that. I don't think I'm going to go too extreme. I don't think so. I always say that, but I never know for sure. Let's cover up some of this bottom part. There, my former swatch down there. I don't want to get this over the bottom part too much, okay? I think that looks pretty good as far as texture goes like that. Look at that. Let's put a little bit in the water there. Okay. I might get some on the reeds. That's not what I really want, but this is going to represent maybe some reflections in the water. Okay, I barely laid down any in there. Some of it, you know, they're in front of the rocks, but see like that as far as the texture goes. See how subtle that is right there? To reflect some of that. All right, so kind of a very subtle application of stars. I mean, you can remove some of these too if you want to. You can just take a little scratching knife or whatever you have, an X-Acto blade. Like it's say if it's not representing snow, you're not gonna have a star in front of the tree like that. So just kind of scratch it out accordingly, like so. All right, but pretty fun stuff. Okay, now this is a blue color scheme, right? We have a blue paint pen. I have all kinds of paint pens now. They are Artistro, ones like that. Let's try this. There's a Sharpie one. I have darker pens as well now with this Artistro 42 paint pen set. Okay, have all kinds of different values of blue. But I think this will... Some of these I've never used before, so I really have to shake them up quite a bit, okay? All right, let's see if I shake this up enough. Okay. So, just to bring some of that blue up into my other areas for a little bit of continuity. Okay. It's a way to bring in and carry over certain colors, okay, into other areas. It's like you're a designer, you know, going from room to room, and you're bringing some sort of thing from room to the next. Be it shape, pattern, color, maybe a little bit of both. But that brings a certain type of harmony and continuity, connection between one area and the next. Okay, I'm adding a few more of these than I thought I would, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm getting that blue up there, you know, that we find down there. All right, add a few little larger highlights, or reflections, I should say, not highlights, down in the water. Kind of cluster some of your stars together. I would say, to make it look a little bit more natural. This is a really fun piece. I don't know. You know, I don't know how much I'll be using this technique. I think it's worth revisiting though. Especially, I don't know, bringing in that black back over the color, adding the shadows in there. It like brought it together so fast. I love watching things like that happen right in front of me. Okay, so this is a lighter blue. That looks pretty good for my additional stars. Okay. It really needs kind of a central focus here. I need to do like a North Star type of thing up here, I think. Okay. I don't know. Can you see the differences in color? See, here's like a lighter blue, and those are a little bit of a darker blue. And then kind of creating that little bit of a textural continuity too between sky and the surface down here. All right. Okay, so You know, I ordered, I think I got the aquamarine crystals. Let me see what crystals I have. If I don't have the aquamarine that came in, I'll just use my silver ones, but or clear ones. All right, I placed an order and they're coming in two different shipments, but the one that I received yesterday is the one that I need right now. So let's see how this goes. You're watching a preliminary unboxing video of this, but I need it for this card. So let's see how this goes here. Okay, this is what I'm looking for here. Alright, so what we have here, I've never received a pack from this maker of this before, so this is all new to me too. First time I've ever seen it. Okay. Alright. There we have it. See these crystals right here? These are I forgot what you call them. They're like iron-on crystals, okay? But I'm not going to iron them on. Or I think you can use one of those tools, one of those kind of tools where you kind of put something down and you press on it and it transfers. I'll just glue these ones down, but I think some of these little shimmery little bits would look fantastic up here. I think it'll stand out quite a bit, so you know, we'll use them accordingly, okay? So I'll do some kind of combination of, you know, your clear and blue. So if you like the color blue, maybe this is a scene, right up your alley. Okay, so let's go with, alright, so this is a pre-folded card, so it's going to be folded over like this. So I think kind of a central focus star. I was thinking about drawing a star in there, but I thought let's use the crystals. Now, I don't want to go with anything too huge, or do I? Let's go with the smaller ones, okay? I think, you know, I don't know if this scene's about subtlety. Maybe not subtlety, but nothing, maybe not anything too crazy, okay? Alright, so let's go with, I'm kind of aiming for a star roughly in the rule of thirds area right here. Okay. So there's a little bit of glue there. I'm going to add a little bit of a larger glue there. That star. And then let's add in some little surrounding ones here. Okay. We want enough kind of, you know, visual interest on the front of the scene. Okay. So I've just placed these little droplets of glue there. There's three there. Kind of working in odds, you know, you always hear that thing that things look good in terms of odd groupings, you know, compositional, from a composition standpoint. Okay. And again, with something like this, see I'm kind of grouping some stars right around here. You can do like a constellation if you want to. Actual constellation. Do your constellation, you know. Whatever birth, you know, month you were in. Doesn't mean you were into astrology or anything like that, but, you know, could just be, you know, just something for some fun. I think I'm clogging up here. Okay, let's see. I need to get a pen and poke it through here. I've got some glue kind of clogged up here in the thing. Okay, this is always kind of clogging on me. Don't hold it against Tombow. This is probably a 20-year-old glue dispenser. I saw a photograph or an advertisement for it in a magazine recently. It was a really old magazine whenever this thing came out, and it's probably when I bought it, and it's just the only one that I had. Glue that I happen to have. I don't do a lot of gluing. Okay. Seeing if I have these spaced out, roughly in a semi-interesting way. Yeah, see, I'm getting these big globs of glue coming out. They're kind of dried up. That's what was clogging up my dispenser here. All right, this is driving me nuts. Okay. Okay. Gem picker. Makes my life easier. All right, let's start off with I'll go with a fairly substantial one for my kind of center-focused star. Right in that dominant section right there. A real dominant thing would be right in the middle, but that would look, really awkward. Okay, and then let's go with a bunch of smaller ones. Okay, I'll put some surrounding ones here. Now, these clear ones, the lighter ones, I'm guessing are going to stand out more because they're lighter. So, all right, this gem picker makes my life easier, but I still have to pick it up right side up. Yeah, that's upside down. Here we go. Okay. It's just so small, I can't tell sometimes if I have it right side up or upside down. Okay. All right, so let's take a look here and see these little crystals in the sky. Kind of shimmering little crystals. All right, let's see. The round, we'll oscillate a little bit and we'll decide, if we need more of one or the other. Okay, now these ones are going to be blue, so again, I don't expect them to be quite as visual as the lighter ones, but I don't know. All right. My glue is kind of drying a little bit. I mean, let's hope it's still wet enough for this to stay in place. The blue's kind of cool. I also ordered some gold and kind of an amber colored. All right, so here's see those blue ones in there? Here's the blue. They glisten different than the clear. Okay, so they are fairly subtle. Okay, all right. Now I have a lot of glue here drying on me. I was fighting my media there a little bit too much. Let's reapply. I'm getting kind of sloppy with my glue. It's kind of it's thick. I need a new glue. It's much thinner. Because as I pull this off, it's like pulling like mozzarella cheese. It's like pulling a big string of it off. Okay, I don't know. I could get it better than that, but I'm not going to bother. If I have a little bit of a line of glue, then so be it. Okay. If you're looking for gems, I just looked up crystal, rhinestones. And these things were, I don't know, pretty cheap. I think there's like 2,000 of them or something per pack, so, this will be the last aquamarine I think I ever buy. Unless I just go crazy and become like a, crystal applying, fiend. I'm using a couple bigger ones here. I guess I do need to get a little bit more gutsy. We don't need everything too subtle, do we? All right. I need to wash off my my crystal picker. Let me go with this big side of it. Okay. Alright, so here we have these little glowing little crystals like that. It's kind of becoming about the crystals whenever I use them. Let's go back to some of these clears. This is really about these crystals now. I'm really thinking I should put in a quote about the stars here. Somewhere in here. I've already made it kind of busy though, so I'd have to have like space for the quote. Or it could be, the quote could be on the inside of the card too, but look at this right here. See this like that? There's those aquamarines that are kind of fun. So we have different color paint pens right in there. Okay. See like that. See how textured that is? We have this down here. Let me look at a quote. I think we need some kind of central focus down here too. Maybe a little canoeist or something like that. And maybe quote too. I don't know. I want something. The crystals are attention getting, but I don't know. I need a visual anchor in here. Okay, so let me check for that. All right, I think I have a perfect quote for this. It would be kind of good if I added it to the inside of the card, but I think I need kind of a central focus up there. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to add in this little canoeist first. Okay, solo canoeist. Let's add in black in here. I think that'll be kind of a visual. It'll be subtle because it's it's kind of dark down here anyway. But we'll kind of make them a little bit off center, kind of paddling into the scene. So don't squash your tiny stamps like this after using a lot of pressure with your larger ones. The reeds, you know, the same thing. Don't squash your reeds. All right. It's kind of a visual anchor down here. So we'll canoeist like that. It's somewhat transportive too when you use a figure or something like that. You don't always have to have every scene. It doesn't have to be transportive, but you kind of put yourself into the scene when you add kind of a character like that. If you have kind of visual focal points too, like animals or things like that, they become like a visual anchor, okay? You know what I mean? Something to really kind of focus in on. All right, so do I go with Brilliance White or do I stay with the theme of this Moonlight White for this quote stem? Let's go ahead and try this one. I usually use the Brilliance, but let's go ahead and use this one since I was using that one anyway. When it is darkest, we see the stars. It's a fairly bold text font. So, all right, do I have that straight on there? I almost need one of those blocks that have the lines on it for registration. Okay. Alright, so like I said, this would be perfect for the inside of a card. You know, you look at a card like that, then you open it up and it would say something like that. But I think something up here in the sky would also be fairly interesting. I got to make sure that I'm not stamping it over a crystal. Alright, so good even pressure. Hold down, you know, allow some of the ink to transfer over. It doesn't mean you're squashing it, you know. But good even pressure. All right. Okay. It didn't. I was going to say it didn't stamp out too opaque, but maybe it matches the rest of the feel like that. When it is darkest, we see the stars like that. All right. Yeah, maybe it matches that. It's kind of the same color as that haze down there. All right, so anyway. All right. Every time I look at these things, I'm always kind of devising. Here's a silver pen. I think silver would look good. I always like silver, blue, and white. I think those make a really good color combination. Color scheme, whatever. So let's go with a couple of, yeah, this one's really reflective too. It's subtle. I mean, it looks like kind of a white dot, but then, you know, it's just like the crystals when they catch the light in a certain way, they really reflect a lot of that light back to us. Okay, and you can have some of it down in your water. All right, so I don't know. I mean, not a spectacular scene, but really a test of, you know, applying colored pigment ink over the top of black paper or dark paper. So getting that foundation going with white allows us to apply that, you know, color over the top of it. Personally, I love that glow down there, okay, in this black color scheme. But these are just different ways to kind of, I don't know, fill out that area. And I could have used more of that, but having those little kind of, see those little blue little glistening dots up there to reflect that same type of color that's down there. Do you see all this blue up here? And then, let's see if I can show you some of that silver. Okay, so you can see the white in there, okay? But then the silver dots are like say like that little, those little crystal, you know, that cluster of them right there. Do you see how those kind of, you know, wake up like right in here? So there's white around it, but then, you know, when I hold it at certain angles, or, you know, it depends. People don't have to look at it like this, you know, but if they kind of hold it up, you know, they'll see all these little stars kind of come out. See, right in here, you can't see them at all with silver because they're the same color as that background. But then when you tilt it like that, they come out, they pop out of the background. Like so. Oh, I forgot to put, there's a couple things of glue there. I can put more crystals right there. I forgot. You know, I guess you can put crystals down in the water too, kind of, you know, little sparkly little elements, but there's like some of that silver right there. All right, so anyway, kind of your blue shimmering glow. You know? A little test here, a little experiment, and I don't know, probably one to revisit. I mean, that blued out, you know, would kind of be interesting up here too, you know, in terms of, you know, kind of galactic, you know, little striations up there. But this is just the first test, so anyways, good enough. I think I know it works, and I don't know what we can possibly build on in the future. Okay, anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.